Hey everyone, today we're going to be checking out the Shift Backpack from Incase. And to me this seemed interesting because it felt like a more budget-friendly and entry-level option in their lineup while still providing a nice amount of capacity and functionality. I've had a chance to test this over the past couple of weeks, and in this video I'm going to be talking about what it's been like to use it. I'll show you how I've loaded it out, walk through all the features, and I'll also talk about how it compares to some of the other similar bags that are currently on the market. Before jumping into the video, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Danny, and on this channel we love reviewing popular travel and everyday carry gear. If you like these types of videos and you'd be interested in seeing more, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel out a lot. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Starting off with the overall aesthetic, like other Incase bags, this has a pretty minimal and slightly techy vibe. I do like that this one feels a little bit more subdued, and so it's something that I don't think is going to call a ton of attention to itself and blend in nicely into a lot of environments. It's going to be great for traveling, for exploring the city, for taking it into the office. As far as the materials, this exterior fabric is a recycled 500D polyester that feels like it's going to offer a decent amount of durability and weather resistance. It doesn't feel as rugged as some of the more premium fabrics on the market, but I think that for the price point that this comes in at, it does a good job. And then I like that it's not a super rigid fabric, so it'll allow, the bag to mold around the items that are on the inside. And it also helps keep the bag a little lighter. Beyond that, you don't have YKK zippers on this, or at least I haven't seen any branding for that, but these have worked very smoothly and reliably so far. Continuing along the outside of the bag, I was happy to see that you have two external water bottle pockets, one on each side, and these are going to be able to handle something like my 20-ounce water bottle pretty comfortably. There's not a lot of elasticity here, so the volume that it comes with is kind of fixed. You can also start to kind of hit some of the items on the inside, so if everything is very packed out, this might start to be a tighter fit, but it's still enough for what I normally carry with me. You can hold a water bottle, you still have enough room for an umbrella, so always nice to have the dual compartment options. And then they also don't stick out too much when they're not in use, so great to have those included. And then at the top of the bag you have a simple carrying handle here, pretty thin, but gets the job done. And on the front you have the Incase logo, and I like how subtle this is. It's blacked out to match the exterior of the bag, so it blends in pretty nicely. And then this does manage to stand up on its own when the bag is fully packed out. However, because the structure of this isn't super rigid, as you start to empty it out and it loses its shape a little bit, it can tend to tip forward. Moving into the capacity, this comes in at about 25 liters, which in my opinion is one of the most versatile backpack sizes, as it's able to hold all the items that I normally like to carry with me, and it still provides some leftover space for longer days, but it never feels overwhelmingly bulky or large as I'm walking around. And I like that even when it's a little bit more packed out, it still maintains a pretty streamlined profile, particularly since the structure of the bag isn't super rigid. It'll kind of collapse into itself when it's not as full, so it's going to be great for navigating crowded areas, jumping onto public transit, and carrying onto a variety of domestic and international airlines. Continuing with the harness system, so far the bag has been surprisingly comfortable to wear. I like how the straps have been implemented here. They have a good amount of padding, it's really soft, comfortable. On the inside you have a breathable mesh to help prevent moisture from building up, and then the straps have a good width to help prevent the bag from digging into your shoulders when it's a little bit more packed out. You have one attachment point here on the strap that you can use to clip on a light, maybe hang your sunglasses. No sternum strap or ability to add one with this one. And then on the back panel you have a similar style of padding that's well distributed. This has also felt comfortable. You don't really have a frame sheet included with this bag. It is not super supportive in that sense, which has its pros and cons, as I'll talk a little bit about later in the video. But I think that's one of the trade-offs you will sometimes get with a bag at this price point, and the padding that's included here still feels good, particularly when you have a laptop on the inside. And so you have that breathable mesh, some slight air channels here. I would always like to see something a little deeper to provide you with some extra ventilation. And I do like that you have a luggage pass through here so that you can rest this on your suitcase while traveling. Jumping into the organizational options, the bag has a nice variety of pockets all throughout. Starting off on the front, you have a quick access pocket here. For the zipper, you have the lid kind of coming over to provide some protection, and then very smooth working. And I like that the compartment here offers a nice amount of volume. It doesn't go all the way down, comes to about this sort of midpoint of the bag here, but more than enough space for something like my sunglasses with their case. I have a packable tote bag from Peak Design, and then
I also tossed in a headlamp. And even with all those things in there, it still felt like there was a little bit of leftover space. And behind that, you have a larger kind of admin compartment. This one does go all the way down to the bottom, so lots of flexibility here with this compartment. One thing I'll call out, as you can start to see here, is that you do have a black interior, so not a whole lot of visibility. It would have been great to have something a little lighter, but regardless, I like the layout of this compartment. At the bottom, I have the Evergood Civic Access pouch half liter. I have my USB-C hub, charging cables, and then I also tossed in the Alpaca admin pouch. All of those things fit in there. And then on the back, you have some built-in organization, a couple of simple slip pockets. In one of them, I have my AirPods. Then you have a few slots for a pen, stylus, flashlights, and then I also have my charging cable for my tablet, my phone. Behind that, you have a larger sleeve that can handle a tablet or a notebook. Here I have my iPad mini. It's able to fit in there comfortably. It's not padded or anything like that, but still good to have a spot for it. And then you also have a little loop here that you can pair with a carabiner or a keychain to just kind of secure something while you're on the go. And then moving into the main compartment, this is a top loading bag, but the zippers go down a good amount. And then with this open layout, I was able to hold all the items that I normally like to have with me. It works well with my modular setup. And so here I have my Beat Studio headphones, I have the Bellroy Tech case, I have an Air Tech pouch here, and then at the bottom I have the Civic Access pouch 1 liter and the 2 liters. And all of those things fit in there comfortably, and it still felt like I had leftover space. With this layout here, this could also work for minimal travel. If I wanted to toss in my packing cube, a dop kit, an extra pair of shoes, I could definitely use this for a longer weekend trip. And then on the back of the bag, you have a sleeve that is meant to hold your laptop, and this is gonna offer plenty of space. Currently, I have my 14-inch MacBook Pro, but you can see this would easily be able to handle a 15 or 16-inch laptop. And this sleeve isn't the most padded or rigid per se, but it does have a little bit of padding here, as well as the soft lining on the inside. You have a soft lining on the back as well. And with the cushioning from the back panel, it does feel like your laptop has some protection. It's just not quite as robust as some of Incase's other bags. And then on the bottom, there is a slight gap, but because the structure of the bag isn't rigid and there's no frame sheet, when you place the bag down, there's still a chance that your laptop could make contact, so you want to keep an eye on that. And then pulling my laptop out, now with the compartment empty, you can get a better look at the inside. You have that soft lining on both sides of the compartment, and this comes up a decent amount, so if you happen to have a thicker laptop or you want to use a case with your device, this should be able to handle that without any issue. And although this isn't as robust of a laptop sleeve as I normally like to see, I think that it strikes a pretty good balance given the materials and the price point of giving you a little bit more than you might otherwise see with a similar style bag. And the last thing I want to mention while we're taking a look at the bag as it's empty is that I love how flat this manages to pack down. Even though you still have fairly robust straps and padding on the back, this is actually a pretty solid packable backpack option. You can see that it gets flat, the materials are light enough, and so, I'm always on the lookout for something like this that will give me a little bit more functionality when I arrive at my destination. If I'm carrying, a larger travel backpack, it'd be great to be able to pull this out and then have something that is very functional for my, activities once I arrive. So, just another benefit of the materials and, the lack of structure of the bag. And in general, I really like the amount of space and the layout that this provides. And if you're looking for something that's going to be budget friendly, that's going to provide a nice amount of organization, this is going to be a cool option to take a look at.
And so to wrap up, it's been a pretty great experience testing out the Incase Shift Backpack over the past couple of weeks. You can currently purchase this on the company's site, and it's going to come in at around $50, which to me feels like a pretty reasonable price considering the features and the build quality, and it's also going to compare well against some of the other similar options in this price range. And so as I was testing this out, the first bag it made me think of is the Decathlon Quechua Escape Backpack. I recently took a look at the 23 and 32 liter versions of those bags, and I was very impressed with what they offered for the price that they came in at. The 23 liter in particular has been a bag that I've really enjoyed using. The size is just super versatile. It's got a very comfortable harness system, really nice organizational layout, just tons of pockets, dual external water bottle pockets, pretty well padded laptop compartment. And so it just checks off a lot of the boxes for what I would normally looking for out of any, really kind of all-purpose bag. but it does it at a price range that's comparable to this one. So if you're looking for something that's gonna give you a little bit more comfort and organization, that's gonna be a great one to consider. Another bag this made me think of is the EcoHub laptop backpack, which I've talked about a couple of times on the channel, as it's another one of those options that offers a pretty nice feature set for the price range that it comes in at. It's gonna give you a great organizational layout. It's offered in a couple of different sizes. That one has a more travel focused layout, so it's got the suitcase style opening, but still some nice quick access pocketing, a laptop area, luggage pass through, and so it's a great kind of all-purpose bag. And if you're looking for something that will be, you know, a nice personal item option that's going to come in at $50 around or less, and that's going to be a great option to keep in mind. And then the last option that I'll mention here is the Bellroy Light Ready Pack, which is one of my favorite packable backpack options when I'm traveling with a larger bag. That one's been awesome to be able to place inside to use when I arrive at my destination. Packs down super flat, you can roll it up, and it's got a surprisingly comfortable harness for, you know, how lightweight and thin the bag is. And then it's got a simple layout, main compartment with a sleeve on the inside, quick access pocket, dual external water bottle pockets. And so, you know, it's just a really great packable option that has durable materials. And, you know, if you're looking for something kind of like this, but that is more, you know, focused on the packability and you have a little bit of a higher budget, then that's gonna be a great option to take a look at. With that being said, the Incase Shift Backpack holds up very well against all those options. It's not gonna have the same feel and materials of some of Incase's higher priced offerings, but you know, I still think that it does a great job of providing a nice amount of functionality, lightweight materials, and if you're looking for something in a more budget-friendly range, then this is gonna be a cool option to consider. And I'm definitely curious to hear what you all think of the Shift Backpack and how it compares to some of the other budget-friendly options that are currently on the market. And if there's any similar bags that you think that I should check out, as always, please let me know in the comments. And I want to thank the company for sending the bag for me to test out, and to you guys for watching and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.